Few weapons of war come to be known by their familiar name, and fewer still take on a mantle of fear, respect and awe, generating a reputation far outweighing their operational numbers. Few weapons of war have matched the Panzer Kampfwagen 6, the Tiger tank. Introduced to the German army in 1942, the Tiger immediately projected an aura of invincible armoured strength and power. British tank design had stagnated during the interwar years, many models retaining functions and tactics more suited to the previous conflicts. Most were designed to generally cover two separate main functions: heavy, slow and well armoured to accompany walking infantry, or fast, light and thinly armoured to act as a cavalry-type scouting machine. Either way, the guns used were usually of a small calibre, and the automotive power lacking and not always reliable. To match a heavy gun onto a robust chassis with a powerful motor and protect it with heavy steel armour produced enormous engineering challenges which were beyond the reach of a generally underfunded army still applying outmoded tactical thinking. In contrast to the British, the emergent German army, under the direction of Adolf Hitler and his chiefs of staff, took on the notion of lightning war or blitzkrieg and built up new ideas and technologies as Germany planned for a quick war, pushing the technical aspects of engineering further and further. Better tanks with better armour and deadly large calibre weapons which were to be used in a much more enterprising and coordinated manner proved their effectiveness as they swept through the Polish, Belgian, French and British forces in Northern Europe at the outset of the war. Miraculously, the Panzers stopped short of Dunkirk, allowing Allied troops to escape across the Channel, leaving behind their shattered armour and support vehicles. After this initial blitzkrieg success for German armour and tactics in France and later North Africa, the balance between Axis and Allied armour slowly began to even out. British tank crews in their Crusaders and Valentines had become used to getting in dangerously close to their panzer opponents, often behind an artillery barrage or smokescreen, to allow their meagre 2-pounder guns any chance of penetrating the comparatively thick hulls of the Panzer IIIs or IVs. These necessarily risky tactics meant heavy losses for the British, both in men and materiel. Losses they could ill afford or replace. The cruel lessons were not lost on the British, but they lacked the manufacturing base to produce updated tank designs in sufficient numbers. Across the Atlantic, the almost dormant US Army also began to sit up and take notice. It finally acknowledged the importance of the tank in modern warfare and set about producing designs that could be manufactured quickly, easily and relatively cheaply. By 1942, the implementation of the US Lend-Lease program saw better tanks in the shape of Grants and Shermans arriving across the Atlantic in numbers to help redress the balance. Initially used by the British in North Africa, the new Swallow tank, soon to be known as the Sherman, acquitted itself well in several actions. Germans. With bigger guns and better tanks, the Allies began to feel confident about dealing with German armour. The appearance of one type of German tank, first in Russia and then later in 1942 in North Africa, shattered that confidence. Enter the Tiger I, a 56-ton heavily armoured killing machine centred around the awesome 88mm gun. No other tank in World War II gained such a fearsome reputation. The range and accuracy of its gun, coupled with the formidable strength of its armour, elevated the power of the Tiger to almost mystical proportions in the eyes of its opponents. Tank terror arrived once again to haunt Allied frontline troops. The Tiger concept was first broached in 1937, 2 years before the outbreak of war. Two of Germany's heavy manufacturing companies, Porsche and Henschel, being asked to submit designs and prototypes for a Durchbruchwagen, or breakthrough tank, that would be superior in all aspects to any known or predicted enemy vehicle, and integrate well into the ominously more powerful German army. Hitler and his staff chose the Henschel design. The Führer reportedly delighted at the size and power of the machine shown at the demonstration, a fitting representation of the power of the Third Reich. Production work began almost immediately, with some hulls being produced at the Krupp's works and delivered to the well-organised Henschel production factory. The factory maintained a good rate of output, around 140 maximum in 1 month, and featured some innovative production methods and impressive precision heavy machinery. Some 80 or so of the rejected original Porsche designs were converted into self-propelled guns, known as Ferdinands, used first in Russia and later Italy. Other variations on the Tiger hull were produced in very small numbers, such as the heavy siege howitzer or Sturmtiger, shown here in its only significant action against the hapless Poles in the Warsaw Uprising. The Germans systematically flattened the city. The huge 760-pound projectile, here clearly seen leaving the barrel. It cost around 1 million Reichsmarks and 3.5